listening to Frey. Starting right now. Here's your host Alfredo Leon.
Thank you, Alice, and indeed, Frey. As the New York Yankees came back from an 0-2 deficit in the ALDS to defeat the Cleveland Indians 5-2 to move on to the ALCS to face the Houston Astros. Didi Gregorius followed in the October footprints left by Derek Jeter, hit 2 home runs off of Corey Kluber to give the Yankees the win and defeat the defending American League champions. This was the 4th time that the Yankees have avoided elimination in this postseason and will play the Houston Astros at Minute Maid Park on Friday. It's just our time. Starter CC Sabathia said. The AL West champions, which are led by 5'6" Dynamo and MVP candidate Jose Altuve, went 5-2 against the wild card winners this season. After the Yankees won twice in New York, despite little help from Aaron Judge, came into Progressive Field and finished off the Indians, who won 102 games in the regular season, also had a 22-game winning streak, and were the favorites to go back to the World Series after they lost to the Chicago Cubs in 7 games last year. The drought of Cleveland not winning a World Series turned 70, which is baseball's longest dry spell. The Indians closed the gap in the 5th by making it 3-2 against CC Sabathia before David Robertson pitched 2 2/3 hitless innings to get the win. Yankees closer Aroldis Chapman, who faced the Indians in the World Series last year and signed an $86 million free agent contract in December, worked 2 innings for the save. Chapman was on the mound with a 3-1 lead in the 9th after Brett Gardner battled Cody Allen for 12 pitches before hitting an RBI single, with the Yankees' 5th run scoring when Todd Frazier raced home on right fielder Jay Bruce's throwing error. Gardner's gritty at-bat showed what the Yankees are capable of. "We can win in a lot of ways," Gardner said. After Austin Jackson was called out on strikes to end the game, the Yankees rushed to the mound to celebrate with a wide-eyed Chapman. The Baby Bronx Bombers became the 10th team to overcome a 2-0 deficit to win a best-of-5 playoff series. The Yankees did it back in 2001, as they rallied back to defeat the Oakland A's, as it was a series remembered for Jeter's backhand flip to home plate. Gregorius, who took over at shortstop for the aforementioned Jeter after his retirement in 2014, hit a solo home run off of Kluber and added a 2-run shot in the 3rd off of Cleveland's ace, as that showed Kluber was not himself in this series. After the Tribe fell just short of winning the Fall Classic last year, the Tribe, that was their goal again in 2017, but instead, they came up short again, and now have lost 6 consecutive games with a chance to clinch a postseason series, which dates back to last year's World Series when they blew a 3-1 lead against the Cubs. Dating back to when they lost the World Series in 1997, they are only 3-17 in put-away games and also blew a 2-0 lead on 4 separate occasions, including relinquishing a 3-1 lead against the eventual champion Boston Red Sox in 2007 in the ALCS. Everything was in place for the Indians to move on to the ALCS with Kluber on the mound and setup man Andrew Miller rested. However, the Yankees wouldn't be denied. They came back from a 3-0 deficit against the Minnesota Twins in the 1st inning of that wild card game and had to overcome a tough loss in Game 2 when manager Joe Girardi's decision to not challenge a hit batter caused a lot of criticism and could have cost New York during a 9-8 loss in 13 innings. This showed how these young Yankees, who are ahead of schedule, showed pinstripe pride. "This team never stopped fighting and never stopped believing," Girardi said before Game 5. "That's the mark of a very good team. They know how to persevere and continue to grind out everything, whether it's in a bat or it's on the other side. You're facing a batter, how you grind it." Girardi spoke about more how the team was resilient in their comeback against the Indians.
We win a game 1-0. That's a tremendous pitcher's duel, and you think about how that went about. Tanaka throws a tremendous game, and Greg Bird hits a homer off Andrew Miller, who doesn't give him up. Come back the next day and you win. Sevy pitches a good game, and our team I just look at our bats. The bats that Didi had today, the bats that Gardy had. There's just a ton of fight in this club, and it's a great mixture of youth and veteran players that are leading the way, and it's hard to believe because we just beat a really, really good team.
The Yankees were able to complete their comeback without Judge being on his A game. He struck out 4 times in Game 5 and went 1 for 20 in the series with a .050 batting average. Judge also struck out 16 times. The 6'7" rookie might have saved the Yankees' season in Game 3 when he was able to reach over the right field wall to rob Francisco Lindor of a 2-run homer to a 1-0 win. Kluber was one of the baseball's most consistent pitchers all season, in which he won 18 games and leading the AL with a 2.25 ERA. He is a favorite to win his second Cy Young Award. However, Kluber has had a tough October. He allowed 9 runs, including 4 that left the park over 6 2/3 innings in 2 postseason starts. Those numbers were the last things that Kluber and the Indians would have expected before the series began. Gregorius came in batting .077, which is 1-13 in the series, and only 133, which is 2-for-15 against Kluber, before he hit 2 jacks in the first 3 innings. That gave the boys from the Bronx a 3-0 lead in the third after he pulled an 0-1 pitch into the lower deck and right. Gregorius also set a franchise record for the most home runs in the season by a shortstop with 25. That was one more than Jeter when the captain led the Yankees to a second straight World Series title and their third overall after winning their first in 1996. As deja vu from Game 2, Kluber didn't get out of the first without any trouble. Gregorius got New York on their high horse when he homered with 2 outs in the first after Kluber grooved a fastball. The shot went deep into the stands of right, which raised the anxiety even more after the already jittered Cleveland crowd feel the worst. They would realize after a few hours when they were unable to come back from the win. This was a great series for the Yankees and the Indians. Unfortunately for the Indians, though, they once again blow a big lead in a series when they could have a chance to clinch, as this is their 6th straight loss in the postseason series when trying to clinch, dating back to the World Series last year against the Cubs. It's unfortunate what's happened with the Indians, as like I said, they've been really struggling since the 97 World Series in trying to clinch games. When they have a chance to clinch, they haven't been able to. It's probably been just unfortunate what's happened with them. But credit the Yankees, though, for not giving up and not proving that they're the team that they should have been. But they're proving that they're the team that they should be, especially when people didn't expect them to get this far. I didn't expect them to get this far. They were at least 2 years ahead of schedule, as no one expected them to go this far into the playoffs. People didn't even expect them to make it into the playoffs. They're supposed to be rebuilding after they traded away Chapman and traded away Miller and traded away Carlos Beltran. And they got a lot back of young talent like Gleyber Torres and Clint Frazier. They thought they were going to be bad. Well, not bad, but they thought they were going to at least be a contender for a couple more years. And they're way ahead of schedule. And the way they played this year, especially with how Judge did in the first half, hitting 30 home runs, that led them to acquiring guys like Robertson and Tommy Kahnle and Todd Frazier and even acquiring Sonny Gray because of how they've been doing this year, especially with all the home runs Judge had and all the unexpected play that's occurred by the Yankees. And they're proving that they're a team to beat, especially when their expectations were this high. And they're proving now that they're one of the teams to beat. And who knows, they could win a World Series. Especially now with Game 1. The starters have been announced as Masahiro Tanaka will start Game 1 on Friday in Cleveland. And I think this against Dallas Keuchel of the Astros, which is sort of a rematch from the AL wildcard game from 2015, which was the last time the Yankees faced the Astros, and they were shut out in that game by Keuchel. But I think this is a different team. This team is more confident. They have better pieces around. The lineup is deeper, and that team just had a lot of issues with hitting, as were the Yankee teams in the past couple years that did make the playoffs. But this shows that this is a team that's confident. Nothing will phase them. They were down 2-0. I thought they were done, especially with the way the Indians have been. And with Kluber looming in Game 5, if they were to have gone that far, which they did, I didn't think the Yankees would be able to do it. And they proved me wrong and proved a lot of people wrong, even though Joe Girardi said that the Yankees were the ones that a lot of people counted them out, but Girardi said that they never counted themselves out. Of course they're going to say that. That makes sense because the media and all the press say that they were out and that they had a chance. I thought they didn't have a chance either. It's a good thing that the players don't listen to the media because that stuff like that could get in their heads, and they don't need that type of negativity. And that showed like the Yankees were not bothered by it. They were not fazed by being down 0-2, especially for a young team. A lot of young teams could get affected by it, but the Yankees were not bothered by it as they were able to come back from a 0-2 deficit to come back and move on to the ALCS against the Astros, which should be an exciting series, especially when happening in Game 1 in Houston at Minute Maid Park. So it should be interesting to see what happens with this series, and can the Yankees be able to do what they've been doing lately and keep doing what they're doing, hitting home runs, especially Didi, pretty incredible what he's been doing with the home runs. Especially the incredible what they were able to do against the Indians when they didn't have Judge and Sanchez on their A game. pretty unbelievable. If those guys figure it out, then it's going to be tough to stop the Yankees. But the Astros, they're favored in the series, obviously, because they had a better record, and they won over 100 games. They won the AL West, and they deserve to be the one hosting because they have the better record. And this should be interesting to see what happens as the Yankees have a good challenge ahead of them. And the Astros even said that they're not afraid, that they're not going to take them lightly, especially with what the Yankees did against the Indians. Of course, you're not going to take the Yankees lightly, and it should be exciting to see what happens. But unfortunately for the Indians, they were unable to do what they were supposed to do and go back to the World Series. It's definitely a major failure for the Indians because they didn't think they were going to be eliminated in this first round. The purpose of what they were doing this year with the 22-game winning streak, winning over 100 games and winning the division, they thought they were going to go back to the World Series, especially get their revenge over what happened last year against the Cubs when they should have won it last year, but unfortunately blew the lead 3-1 for them. It's just been unfortunate, like I said, it's happening with Cleveland. But they're going to have to wait till next year if they want to win a World Series. And who knows what happens, because every year baseball is a different story, especially with injuries, as that happens throughout baseball. And players get hurt, and every year is different. And who knows what's going to happen with Cleveland there. The purpose is to try to stay healthy. And you have to take advantage when you get a chance, because players get injured or they may sign with other teams, and the run can be over quickly. And it's important to take advantage while you have the chance, because not too many times opportunities like that could present themselves. Again, especially in baseball, when the hottest team usually wins, not necessarily the best team. And it's important to try to take advantage of it as much as you can, because baseball is just that sport when that happens. But it should be exciting to see what happens in the ALCS with the Yankees and Astros, and it should be a lot of fun. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to smash that like button and for more content, and peace.